I'm thrilled to have an old friend of mine with me today. I know Dr. Stephen Merrill for what, 30 years now. Used to be Lieutenant Stephen Merrill. We were roommates on an aircraft carrier for a couple months. Did a couple cruises together. Squadron mates of the W-116, and now we're talking as business associates and old friends. And I'm loving what you're doing. So Steve is the CEO of Veritas Leadership Research and Consulting out of Salt Lake City, and he has built a great business for himself, helping businesses get better. And he's got a proven process that he's worked, and it works through a couple theories that he's developed. And so, Steve, I'm going to shut up. I'm just going to welcome you, and thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. And I can't believe it's been that long.
Well, it's 1990 was when, oh my gosh, we're getting old, man. My wife tells me I got a lot of gray hair now. So it's been a while.
It has, but it was a good time. A lot of good lessons learned there. A lot of good experiences.
Yeah, I think you go back and you think about a lot of the lessons you learned about life and leadership and just getting things done. You learn at 20-something years old in the military.
Oh, man, huge experiences.
It's a good learning experience. So Veritas Leadership Research and Consulting, and you told me you tell me your process. You're telling me your the thesis that you work off of, and so start there, and let's talk about what you're doing for businesses and kind of how you're guiding them.
You're on. I'll begin with the name. I chose Veritas because it means truth. And I love research. I love finding what people have discovered. And I love digging in. So I love studying companies, figuring out what works for them, for their leadership. And I try to advise them and help them get a little bit better, like what you said. I got my doctorate in organizational leadership a handful of years ago. Like you, I've always been fascinated with leadership, just the inner workings, what works, what doesn't, go down in flames, come back up, try something new, something different, and so forth. And so in my doctorate, I've always been a little fascinated with therapy and the counseling industry, because like you probably remember, your guys will come into you on cruise and say, hey, I've got these issues. This is what's going on back home. This is what, and oh my goodness, how do you help someone with their career and their personal life? I just saw leadership as a blend of counseling and leadership and business and all those things. On cruise, we could not compartmentalize. You try, you do your best, but things happen at home and it affects your work, right? It helps, it hinders, what have you. Our last cruise, for example, my wife had a miscarriage a month into it. So I got 5 more months left on cruise, and I'm knowing that my wife has just had a miscarriage and there's no way I can go back. The communication, we're letters, we're 2-week turnaround time.
Right.
So commanding officer, they're counseling me, they're working with me. I'm doing the same for my men. So that's kind of what drove my research. And I just wondered if this counseling approach called motivational interviewing, the pillars, the 4 pillars of it are partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evoking. And I just thought, that's good leadership. In counseling, you're building this relationship with your client, trying to help them discover what is motivating them to change and to do something differently. I thought that's just good leadership. So I took those principles out of the counseling industry and dropped them into business. And because it was the first of its kind study, I went fishing in the very best businesses I could find locally here in Utah. So I went to Utah Business Magazine's Best Businesses Award winners. I asked them, can I study you? Can I see if these principles are in your organization? Long story short, yes, and big time. A little bit surprising was they were even coming up a little bit short. They wanted more partnership with their boss, with their leader. They wanted to be accepted as a human being on a very foundational level. Compassion, they wanted to know that their leader had their back, that they were looking out for him, saying, hey, Craig, look, you're stressed. Dude, I know it's noon, but why don't you get out of here? Go home, rest, right? Have your back. And then the evoking is to bring out your wisdom, your experience, your thoughts, all of those things, bring them out and bring them to bear on the business issue, right? Hey, Craig, what do you think about this? Oh, man, last time this happened to me was, 2 decades ago. And it's a little different, but here's what happened. Really? Well, tell me more. It's that thought-provoking question and answer period. They want to be involved. That's it. And so I found that those companies were practicing those principles. I found that they were still coming up short. Their teams wanted more. And I wanted to know also, how did they relate to what's called the two-factor theory? You've got job satisfaction and hygiene factors. Hertzberg did a study, several of them, and he found that there are the two main job satisfaction factors are achievement and recognition. Those give us satisfaction in job. We've now moved on to engagement and so forth. But at the time I thought, I'm going to study this. Well, partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evoking predicted achievement and recognition hugely. To give you a little frame of reference, I was on a conference call with O.C. Tanner. They are a big recognition company here in Utah, worldwide. And they were explaining, when you do a human study, there are just so many factors. Did you get milk in your Wheaties? Did the cat chew on your couch? That affects your mood at home. So there's all sorts of these factors affecting us. So if you study human behavior and you can account for some behavior, 20, 30%, that's a good study. 40, 50%, that's a great study. Well, those factors, I call them PACE, the relationship factors, partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evoking. They accounted for over 60% of why a person feels a sense of achievement and recognition, which is just ridiculous. So that's why those companies, one of the many reasons, certainly, those companies were so successful. Their leaders had a partnership. We don't hang a sign around our neck saying, hey, Craig, remember, I'm the boss. We don't need that. We want a partner. We want someone we can sit down with and focus on an issue and solve it. We want to know that we're accepted on the basic level of being a human being. Again, know that you got my back. And then ask me questions. What are you thinking? Wow, I don't know. This is what I've experienced, but I'm not sure how it applies. To be involved. Those are big deals. So that was the basis of my study. That's what I found. And I knew that's what I need to teach organizations. If these award winners were coming up short, how much more did mom and pop shops, other industries need to know this so they could be a little more successful?
Well, the big thing about it's interesting. Everybody's got their own definition about leadership, and it's all.
Yes.
I mean, it's all over the place. You might as well just take a bunch of gumballs and throw them up in the air and go, okay, that's.
You don't have enough gumballs.
There's just not enough. It's like, well, I don't know, and you think about like everything in life, it breaks down to, I mentor a lot of kids.
Yes.
They're college kids. I mentor a lot of college kids, and I just help them focus on 2 or 3 things for the interview. And what I found is that if I focus them on one thing, and that's just adding value, when this guy is interviewing you, all he wants to know is, how will you add value? And do you know that your only purpose in life is to add value? When you're interviewing for a job, It's one thing, dude, add value, help them make money, help them save money.
Yes. Yes.
And you're talking about, the leadership, how to motivate your employees. You break it down to four things:
Mhm.
partnership, acceptance, compassion, and invoking. It's all you need to do. Four things. It's not rocket science.
It really isn't. Gallup, I love those guys. They've got great research out there. They came back, they found that the immediate leader, right, the closest person to you, accounts for at least that. So we're starting at 70% of why you are engaged at work. 70%.
Mhm.
That's just ridiculously high. And so the working relationship between a leader and his or her team is everything. Now, what I will put an asterisk in there. Recently, I was talking to a close friend. He is a spectacular leader, and he was doing a presentation between in front of the VP and the president, what have you. And the president asked, "Do you believe that people leave companies because of their leader?" And he said, "Yes, I do." In this case, unfortunately, like I say, he's a spectacular leader, and his feedback from his team demonstrates it. But the company culture and lots of other things are, he can't keep his team. They're leaving. They're
Mhm.
leaving for a better culture, for all of those things: pay, experience, product, whatever.
Mhm.
And he's got the relationship, but his relationship can't overcome some of the other things that are occurring in the company. And the company won't listen to him saying, "Hey, this is why they're leaving." It's like,
Right.
"Well, you're the leader. You need to fix it." It's like, I can't fix that. That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, look, there's I see, I'm a big, obviously I'm an executive recruiter. LinkedIn is a big part of my life. And you see all
Yeah.
the, people don't leave jobs, people leave people.
Yep. Yep.
And I go, look, let's just call us, you may have a great boss. You may have a great boss that you're
Mhm.
going to walk through fire on. But ultimately you're going to look inside your company and you're going to say, am I going to get my boss's job in the next 2, 3, 4 years? When
Right.
I want my boss's job, I'm ready for my boss's job, but you know what? He or she isn't leaving. Am I better hedging my bets? I want growth. Well, it's like, look, yes, people leave jobs because crappy leadership or crappy culture and all the other stuff,
Mhm.
but I tend to give businesses more the better of the doubt, I think benefit of the doubt. I think most of them are actually pretty well run.
Yeah.
But but this natural, there's this discouragement that there's a natural flow of people, I think, is actually good.
Yes. It
People
is a
move
great
out.
confirm.
When somebody moves out, a person in the company that's a 25-year veteran at a director level and who's not going to get promoted to a VP, when they move out, you're giving somebody else a fresh start, provided you allow them to come up from inside the company.
Yes.
So a natural movement of people, I think, is actually healthy for companies. There's this great thing. Well, turnover is not good. I'm like, well, I kind of, it's like too much turnover. Yeah, we might have a problem. Too little turnover, we might have a problem.
Mhm.
That's it.
You're dead on. There's healthy turnover. That new blood invigorates a firm. There's no question about that. Brings in new ideas, new experience, all those things. The questions I tell people, you can have an impact the first day at your job. It's like, really? It's like, yeah. You can ask, why? Why do you do that way?
Mhm.
And it forces the team to say, well, we've always done it that way. Like, why? I'm not challenging you. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just
Right.
teach me why. And that forces the company to reflect a little bit and say, well, wow, maybe I ought to look at that.
Yep.
That's kind of outdated. We've been doing it for 3 years. Maybe we need to change. Well, I just came from Acme and this is the way we did it over there. I'm not telling you because I'm first day on the job, but what if? And it's that invigorating breath of fresh air, and at least it allows you to reflect and say, nope, no, this is good. This is a good process. Let's keep it. It's like, okay, teach me. I want to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, that relationship, being able to speak up, knowing that you're not going to get whacked by your boss
Mm-hmm.
if you bring him or her bad news or a question, even
Mm-hmm.
just that partnership where you can ask me anything. Let's talk about it. Let's understand. I've got your back. Craig, come to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's that relationship between your immediate supervisor. Oh, so important. So important. It will help people stay at a company longer because, hey, I don't want to leave Craig. I've been with him for 30 years. He knows me. We work well together. I'm digging this. This is good and healthy.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally look. It's one of those things where the immediate boss, you push your boss under a bus, the relationship goes south quick. Your boss pushes you under a bus,
yes,
the relationship goes south quick. And this is, this is what's interesting. Most of my customers are middle market, smaller and middle market companies. And I used to work with some big companies as clients, and I had people that went into the big companies and they wanted to affect a lot of change.
Ooh.
And you're like, ooh, time out.
Yeah.
Be very careful about how you tread, because what happens when, as Donald Trump says, it's the swamp. What happens when the swamp fights back? Right.
Yeah.
And
don't poke the bear.
Yeah, tread
Careful.
very, so the people who are quote unquote, I'm a change agent. Well, before you start affecting change, observe what needs changing. And I think too, I think there's a lot of folks out there that are very aggressive, they're hyper aggressive, they're very motivated, they want to do really, really good things, but they poke the bear.
That's one of the first things I learned in the Navy. Salute the ensign, salute the officer of the deck, then go jump in the back pocket of the nearest chief petty officer, because he's forgotten more about the Navy than you know right now.
Absolutely.
And just observe.
Yeah.
Look, what's working, what's not. Ask a lot of questions. Dive into the system and don't immediately critique, but understand. Covey's got it right. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Absolutely.
So that evoking those questions that are not yes or no questions, but provoke pondering and thoughtful, deep thought, right? Those are big, those are good. And it causes that dissonance sometimes, like, oh, wow, I thought about this, but now I'm changing my mind. Why? And that develops answers, right? Develops solutions. So such an important thing that a leader can learn. That again, was I the lieutenant in QA? Yes, I was. But I had some of the top individuals there in the squadron. So I was asking them questions. Petty Officer Mulaney, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Teach me, what's going on?
Yep.
Did you think about this? And he's like, oh man, Mr. Merrill, I didn't. Good call. It's like, cool, glad I could help. Just that bringing out and thought process, big deal, huge.
Yeah, I remember I was the officer of the day, like one weekend in San Diego. We're home in Miramar and I'm the officer of the day. God forbid, a couple of our sailors got in a fight downtown and got thrown in jail. And I have to go down to the downtown jail in San Diego and, sign my name and got them out. And I had to act pissed. And I was like, I don't really care. You know what? But you got to act mad. And I'm taking these guys. I threw them in my truck and let's go back to base. And they're like, we're sorry, sir. I'm like, look, guys, I really don't care. You got in a fight. I don't care. You got to fight, get thrown in jail. You're going to have to answer to it tomorrow. I got you out. Don't feel like you have to apologize to me on the fact that I'm up at 2:00 in the morning. I'm not real happy about that. But for the rest of the we go on a cruise, and I always took the 4:00 brief, or it's like the 3:30 in the morning brief for the 5:30 a.m. flight, and there was always a plate of cinnamon buns from one of the guys. He got sent down to the bakery as punishment. And every day there was a plate of cinnamon buns for the crew on the 6 a.m. or the 5:30 lunch. And I always that makes me laugh. It's like, you know, you don't have to get, you don't have to get mad about everything. You just have to, you know, it's, yeah, it is what it is. And, yeah, but he always had my back for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
That sailor had my back, and yeah, you just kind of laughed about it. It was cool.
Mhm.
But, I went to lunch with a guy today, private
Yeah.
equity guy. We were talking about compassion.
Mm.
And there's a lot of feeling out there that compassion means don't hurt anybody's feelings.
Oh,
Let's be nice. Nobody's feelings need to get hurt. We need to understand everybody, you know, and I'm all about diversity. I'm all about inclusion. I'm all about being
yeah.
nice to everybody. But my quote to him was, you know, I think Jack Welch, as much as I have mixed feelings about Jack Welch,
Yes.
I
Yes.
think he was actually a pretty compassionate guy, because if you weren't going to make it, he would tell you quick.
Yes.
He wouldn't throw you in the deep end and let you drown slowly. He'd just throw a rock on top of you and let you drown quick. Or he, you know, he'd get you out of the pool and say, you're not, you know, you're not here. Anyway, you can't go swimming.
Yep.
Let's talk about the compassion side of the house and what the great leaders in the companies feel about that.
Boy, I've been accused of babysitting or coddling, saying this is too gentle, you know, asking opinions, being compassionate and so forth. And to that, I'd say, I see why you feel that way. I can understand this is a compassionate leadership approach. However, as you stated so well, being compassionate is giving someone bad news, is giving them a reality check. It's like, hey, you know what? We've tried this together. I've been with you. We've worked through some stuff. I've listened to your ideas. We've worked through those, and they've not worked.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't working. And in business, we need to cut ties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I think you're a heck of a person. I dig you. All of those things, but compassionately. Here's an example. A friend of mine, he was going to let a guy go.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't a good fit, and the guy just no, give me another chance. You've got to do this. Oh, I can't, you know. And he gave in. Said, all right, let's keep trying. Another period of time went by, still just not a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
Finally said, I'm sorry, I've got to let you go. This isn't a good fit. And it was devastating to the individual. Mm-hmm. And crushing to my friend. Absolutely crushing, because we're a human. We don't want to see someone out of work.
Right.
Oh man. But a few months later, he came back and said, thank you. I had these golden handcuffs, right? I didn't want to go. I was comfortable. I knew it wasn't a good fit, but I was afraid, quite literally and honestly. But you forced me. You forced me out, and I couldn't have been happier. Mm-hmm. I found this position. It's better. It's the right fit. I'm flourishing. And my buddy's company, of course, flourishing too. Was it painful? And was it compassionate? Yes to both. Mm-hmm. Yes to both. And so, and can I add one thing? There's a lot of talk about being an empathetic leader, having empathy. Mm-hmm. And I get that. And we need more of that. But my challenge is one step more. Sympathy is understanding. Empathy is, so to speak, having gone through it and knowing what they're going through. Mm-hmm. Compassion is actually doing something about it. Mm-hmm. It's one thing for me to, oh, gee, Craig, I feel sorry for you, dude, and walk away. Or, oh, Craig, I understand what it is to have kids. Boy, that's a challenge. Yeah. All right, I'm empathetic. But the next step is to say, Craig, you know what? I was thinking about you. Here's the plate of Cinnabons on your desk. I know it's not going to solve your problems, but I was thinking about you, and I did something. Mm-hmm. I did something. That's what we need in leadership.
Hmm.
We need leaders who will do something, who will say, Craig, I noticed you're dragging. You're having a tough time. What's going on? Well, this.
Yep.
You know what? I got some resources. Can I turn you on to a buddy of mine? It's like, oh my goodness, please. Yes. You're
Yep.
saving me. It's the do. We've got to do
Yep.
more than just feel. Let's get something done.
Look, and companies can be very cold, but I've heard hundreds of stories about, when I was at Gulfstream Aircraft, one of the sales directors came down with was diagnosed with cancer,
Ah,
and the compassionate thing they did to him, the empathetic thing they said to him was, "Hey, look, we got to protect our business, so we're putting another sales director up there in your territory, and he is taking over all your accounts. You can get healthy. You're on the payroll, and we are going to, nothing is going to change in your life, but there's going to be someone up." Basically, they're saying we're paying twice
wow.
to help you get through, now that, it was a very aggressive form of cancer. It didn't end up, look, for the individual, a great guy ended up passing away from the cancer, but they did the right thing. And I hear, a lot of companies go into a lot of levels.
Yes.
Of, hey, look, you're sick, your baby's sick, you've got an issue. Hey, look, we're here to help you. And we're but that's the one thing I think a lot of folks in this world of don't offend anybody, they forget businesses got to protect. If you've got 100 employees and you're the CEO of the company, you've got 98 employees to protect, one that you have to deal with, and yourself.
Yep.
And, it's like, hey, look, I'll help you. I'll do everything I can to help you out. Or to the group of employees, I'll do everything I can to make your life better as best as I can. But I got a business to protect. I got shareholders. I've got vendors and customers and a whole lot of stuff going on. You have your job to do. I've got a whole mess.
Yeah.
So I think that empathy works both ways. And, that's the one thing I think a lot of the younger generation, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that. I don't care.
Old.
I'm just an old guy. I think that's somebody said, "Hey, boomer" to me the other day. I'm like, well, I don't care. But that's the one thing people forget is that, hey, look, small business owners or mid-market business owners, man, they got their livelihoods are at risk.
Big
And
time.
they'll do everything they can, but their livelihoods are at risk. My brother runs a business. He hired somebody he shouldn't have hired. He knows he shouldn't have hired him. He was very compassionate when he had to let the guy go, but the situation damn near bankrupted him. And I'm like, dude, don't do that. He's like, yeah, I'll never make that mistake again.
That's an expensive lesson.
It's an expensive lesson is what it becomes. It's like, whoa, what. So I think that's the compassion side of the house is that it's the empathy and compassion. It's a two-way street. Understand what your boss is going through to the same degree that, what's in it for him versus what's in it for you. Right.
You can argue it ethically, right? The greater good. I can be sympathetic, empathetic, compassionate to one individual, and it will take my company down.
Yep.
Right. So what do? You know what? That's an individual question and all sorts of different situations which would justify whatever action. And you know what? I understand that. What I think many leaders don't quite understand, that a simple gesture of hey, Craig, what you doing? Oh, I'm working on this PowerPoint, got a presentation, here in about 30 minutes. Like, oh, okay, cool. And I walk away. Well, where do I go? I go down to the boardroom. I light the fire in the computer. I get the projector up. I make sure there's water in the fridge, erase the chalkboard, all that stuff, clean up, tidy up. I walk back. Hey, Craig, dude, you're good to go.
Good luck and knock them dead, right?
Yeah, knock them dead. That's one last thing you have to worry about. But you think, holy cow, he took time out of his schedule, and he grabbed me a Dr. Pepper out of the kitchen on his way up. He knows I love Dr. Pepper with crushed ice. This guy gets me, right? it's those small gestures
Right.
that endear me to you and you to me, that it's like, I've got your back.
Yeah.
I've got your back. Those big stories of cancer, they are so cool.
Yep.
Those small stories of, there's a cinnamon roll on your desk every morning, you got your brief.
Right.
How you still talk about it 30 years ago from then.
Yeah.
That demonstrates how powerful it is.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, I know a lady who helped a company get the biggest deal ever in its company history.
Wow.
And she worked for a year to do this. She worked nonstop for a year to do it. Didn't take her vacation, didn't do it ever.
Wow.
Busted it for a year. And her reward was they took away her vacation because it was a use or lose policy.
Oh.
And they gave her $150 dinner. They gave her $150 gift certificate. Now, understand the sales leaders made hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions. The company made millions of dollars and she got a $150 gift certificate and lost 2 weeks vacation because she didn't use it. And she's not at that company anymore.
Yeah.
For a reason. You know, and you think about like, you go, oh my God, really?
Yeah. What
yeah,
brings
like
her in
what?
our
Yeah, but that's a true, that's a true story. And it's like a small gesture. Hey, here's your 2 weeks vacation back, and a third week of vacation to Cancun on us, right?
Serious.
Yeah,
Serious.
So
we were thinking, and even to add to that, add a little more detail. We know you like this, so guess what?
Right.
It's going to be there when you arrive. You like peanut M&Ms. You know what? There's a case of them sitting in your hotel room when you arrive, you know, in the Bahamas. That personalized knowing the individual and then doing something about it can't be measured. It can't be measured.
Yeah, you know what, and honestly, look, I'm not as good at that as I should be. Quite frankly.
We can all improve.
Yeah, you think about all the things you can improve on. You're like, wow, I could have sent that person just a little note, or I could have sent them a little thank you or a little something or another, just to think I was, just so they knew I wasn't totally forget about them, or it wasn't all about business. Even if it is all about business, it's not. People want to do business with people.
Yes,
they want to do business. We're better yet, they want to do business with people they like.
Exactly.
And
that they can connect with, literally.
Yep.
There was you talk about that. There was a study when I was getting my MBA that was cited. They had 2 groups. One group said, get this business deal done as quickly as you can. The other group was assigned, said, get this business deal done, but I want you to get to know the people first, take your time. The group that they both got the business deal done, but the group that got to know each other better, spend a little time socializing and understanding one another, better deal. Better deal was done. So we do business with people we like, that we trust, that we connect with, that we can bond with. It's, it's not a win-lose. It's those win-wins that are so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got you. So you talk about the last part of the last leg of your stool, the fourth leg of your stool.
Okay, evoking.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'll take you back. I'll take you back to Panama.
Oh, Jesus.
And we had an all officers meeting.
Yeah.
And after that meeting, we were going to hit the beach.
Okay.
We kept asking questions, trying to get something, understand better. But the person running the meeting was just all about them. And we started kicking each other under the table, saying, don't ask any more questions. He's not asking us. He doesn't want our feedback.
Right.
We want to go to the beach.
Right.
So we went silent. we went dark, and we got out of the meeting.
Right.
Evoking is huge. It's the demonstration of partnership, acceptance, and compassion. It's like, Craig, what do you think? And when you start asking these rich, purposeful questions, getting someone to ponder and reflect on their experience. And it doesn't have to be an answer right then. It's like, well, we've got this complex business issue going. What are you thinking, Craig? It's like, well, wow. Right now there's a driver shortage. We can't get product out of the port. We can't, and we start evaluating and reflecting. And as a leader, I can add fuel to that flame by asking these questions. They could be directive, where it's like, I want to go over in this area rather than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can steer the conversation, but still help the individual discover solutions by asking these wonderful questions.
Mm-hmm.
And bringing out experience, bringing out wisdom, bringing out training. And sometimes the team guy is going to say, I don't know. I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, as the leader, a little more experience perhaps, and you say, well, you know what, this is what I've experienced. What do you think of this? Really? The leader's asking the team member what they think? That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that sounding board going, getting that discussion going, getting that synergy going. It's all about solving the business issue. It's all about, and that builds that relationship of trust, which is so critical in every relationship.
Yeah, a friend of mine used to call it, a friend of mine used to call it helping organizations get to the ace of spades.
Yeah.
And he would say it was asking enough questions and enough, it's sort of like, hey, do you think about that? Or, hey, what about this? And it's sort of using questions to help somebody get down that path.
Yeah. Get down to bedrock.
And finding the ace of spades.
I love that. And that's too often leaders think, well, I'm the leader. I need to know the answer. I need to have all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a big ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can let go of that and say, you know what, guys, here's my team. I don't know the answer to this issue. I really don't. I've reflected on these. Here's our options, right? The directors have come back and said, here's the framework. We have to work within this framework. Okay, team, what are you thinking? Because the team is so much smarter than just one person,
mm-hmm.
right? All that experience, you've got perhaps 100 years of experience with a team of 5 or 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, why not draw on it? And it takes a real leader to say, guys, I don't have the solution to this, and I'm not relinquishing my right to say this is where we're going. Mm-hmm. That is my burden to bear, quite honestly. I'm taking it from you so you don't get crucified for it. Mm-hmm. I'm bearing the responsibility of the decision, but there's no reason why I can't get feedback from my team. Mm-hmm. and get knowledge and experience.
Hey, look, I'm convinced, it's August 26th today. Mm-hmm. 12 Marines just got blown up in Afghan Kabul.
That was devastating.
And I'm convinced that a command and control mentality is the reason we're in this debacle.
Yes, sir.
And if the correct questions were asked and answered, not yesterday or a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but 6 months ago, we wouldn't be in this debacle.
Yes.
And so the best question you can ask is, ladies and gentlemen, here's the goal 6 months from now. Here's 4 key things we need to accomplish. How do we get there? And if you're looking to me as the leader for all the answers because you think I know everything, I don't need you.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if the leader knows all the answers, what's he need everybody else for?
Why do I need it? I've got a lot of overhead with this team of 10.
Bada bing, bada boom. So, for all the people who think that, a lot of new leaders, hey, they're newly promoted into a leadership position, individual contributor, now in a leadership, now in a leadership. The hardest thing they make is that mind shift from, I was the individual contributor. Now I have to puff up my chest and be infallible. That's ridiculous. You got to shift your mind and go, look, I have to lead. I don't have to do. I'm not a doer anymore. I'm a leader.
Yep.
That's a hard mind shift for people to make.
And it's a scary mind shift, right? It's scary. Suddenly you've got 5, 10, 15, whatever your team size is, looking at you saying, okay, do something, right? Lead, like, and here's, you bring up new leaders. Craig, most new leaders don't get any training.
Nope.
Hey, you're a fantastic individual contributor. I'm going to make you the team lead. Yes, thank you. I get a pay increase, but I don't get any training. I don't get anything. I'm thrown to the wolves. And then I'm hauled in and put on plan because things aren't performing very well.
Right.
I didn't stand a chance. Now, there are natural leaders without question who can step into the role and they may take off. But in general, across America, new leaders receive little to no training. I think 60 or 70%, no training whatsoever. And businesses expect them to be successful.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, no, I worked at a company once, and the leadership of the company wouldn't let their leaders lead. They were continually undermining them. And it was crazy because, president of the company was constantly calling his salespeople and saying, what's in your pipeline today? What do you got going? What's the probability? Why aren't you doing it this way? And it's like, there's that chain of command for a reason. You put a VP of sales in, and if you erode that, you just killed your leader. You just crushed your leader. You crushed the person that you put in that role because you totally undermined.
Yeah, there's no trust whatsoever. It's like, well, if you're doing the sales manager's job, who's doing the CEO job?
You got it.
Who's looking out over the horizon 20 years? Trying to see roadblocks, trying to see barriers and what have you, trying to see opportunities. If you're knee deep in the weeds, and you're an expensive sales manager.
I've seen, my focus is all, like I said, smaller and middle market companies. And a lot of entrepreneurs, I just call it the entrepreneur trap. And they get overwhelmed, and then they want a COO. And they go through 4 COOs, and you talk to them and you say, well, you talk to the 4th CEO, you talk to each of the COOs as they kind of turn, they go, he wouldn't let me do anything. Or she wouldn't let me do anything. They can't let go.
Got that death grip.
And finally they call you, they say, hey, I want you to do a search for CIO. You go, no, I'm not doing it because you've been through 4 and you won't let it. You just know you've got a reputation of not letting go. So, then what you have to do is you have to, it's almost create a partnership. You have the COO make the CEO sign a contract that says, this is my job. I will do this and you will stay the hell out of my way. I mean, that's sort of bottom up leadership, but companies need a lot of bottom up leadership as well.
Very much so. Just had a conversation, 2 people, Tuesday, regarding that. One guy, he just didn't know where he stood. Things kept changing underneath him. He'd get wind. Hey, this so-and-so's mad at you. Oh, this guy wants that. And it's like, I've had conversations with my boss. These are my duties, but he keeps changing them. The CEO keeps changing them. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Here is what I recommend. Get things written down. And I gave him some tools. People ask me, how do I lead up, Steve? How do I manage my manager. Here's a couple tools. I love these tools. They're called rulers. One's an importance ruler. So Craig, you come to me and say, Steve, I need you to do X, Y, Z. And my reply to you is, Craig, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this? And you say, Steve, this is a 7. All right. So what would make it an 8? Well, if I get a call from the company and they want it a little faster, whatever, right? So, well, what would make it a 6? And you explain to me what would make it a 6. So I'm getting to understand your landscape a little bit more, right? I'm trying to understand better. It also helps you reflect. Say, is it really an 8? Maybe it's a 9. Maybe it's a 7, 6, whatever it may be. And then you can reply also with an ability ruler. Well, Craig, here's on a scale of 1 to 10, here's how confident I am to get that done. I'm only a 5. And you look at me, it's like, Steve, why is a 5? I said, because John over in accounting has given me a stack of stuff to do, and it's pressing. This has got to be done by 3 o'clock today, and it's noon. And so now we start partnering. You say, well, Steve, let me talk to John. Or what about Stacy? Can she give you a hand? It's like, Stacy's a whiz at this stuff. I would love to work with her. So we start expanding the vision of the landscape, both you and me. I know what's going on in your head. You know what I've got on my plate. And so as a subordinate and as an individual contributor, I'm starting to manage my manager, if you will. I'm not directing him, telling him what to do, anything like that, but I'm understanding him or her better. So I can ask good questions and I can say, hey, tell you what, I know so-and-so, can I get help? Or can we do it this way or whatever? And again, it's that partnership. It's accepting you've got a burden to bear. And the compassion, right? How can I help you, Craig? You know what? I've got a buddy of mine. Let me turn you on to this resource. Then in the evoking, it's asking those good questions. What do you think? How important is it? Who can we have? What, have you thought about this? I'm not questioning your knowledge. I'm not questioning anything of your authority. I'm just trying to solve the issue. That's the big deal. That and where we've got a good, tight working relationship because we partner, because we accept one another, because I've got your back, because I can ask you questions. It's everything.
It's communication. I mean, it's good communication. It's back and forth communication. Is it the idle mind is the devil's playground, and the silent mind brings paranoia, right? It's like, hey, he hasn't talked to me in a week. Is he mad? Is she mad? Is she upset? Did I do something wrong? It's like, maybe not. Hey, but that's a good thing where you go, hey, I haven't heard from you in a week. Are we good? Everything okay?
Having that good, powerful working relationship is everything. It's everything. I'm not afraid to bring you bad news, right? And I'm certainly not afraid to bring you good news or ideas. And you tell me, it's like, Steve, that's a fantastic idea, but not right now. This is what I've got cooking. Oh, okay. I don't feel suppressed. I don't feel like, well, crap. He's never listened to me. He's never accepted one idea. He's told me, no, that's a fantastic idea. Timing's bad. Timing's bad. Conditions are bad, whatever. And, you come back, maybe I can't explain it to you immediately, but I come back and say, Craig, I am so sorry. That's a fantastic idea. Here's what I'm dealing with. And here's why I've decided to go this way instead of that. Okay. I'm still validated. I'm still accepted. I'm going to still keep coming to you with stuff, right? Maybe one will stick. Conditions are right, all that stuff. But I'm not afraid to do it.
It's really funny. Everybody's working from home now. Great Wall Street Journal article. It's bringing on the Great Paranoia. There you go. You read about these things. Everybody talks about, well, now it's the Great Resignation because everybody's so pissed off at their company, they're going to quit. Well, they're not. It's going to become, the Great Resignation is going to become the great game of musical chairs. And I'll tell you why. because people will make a change without knowing what they want. And
Uh,
all they're doing is they're shifting. All they're doing is they're saying, I don't like it here. The grass is greener over there. So they go where the grass is greener. Well, what they should be saying is, what am I looking for to make a change? What makes the grass greener over there? So I think the great resignation that's coming is really just a great big game of musical chairs, because people they want more empathy, they want better work from home, they want pixie dust and fairies and apple pies and dogs on Zoom, and by golly, they're going to go where they can go to get it.
Yep.
That ain't exactly
Lucky
happening.
Charms in the kitchen. I'm
And
quitting.
then the next thing is the great paranoia, because people are on Zoom and Slack. I've never been on. You ever been on Slack?
I have.
I've never been on Slack, so I'm old. I don't have a need for it. So it's
a company set me up with my own channel when I was doing consulting work with them. They gave me my own channel, and we talked about stuff and exchanged ideas and laughed and played, and it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, and now it's the great paranoia. But then I read about Netflix. They fired some people because they talked smack about their boss on Slack.
Oh, wow.
And their boss is like, hey, look, they're venting. It is what it is. They're venting. It was all about me, and I'll deal with it, which is great leadership, quite frankly. But they sat there and said, hey, no, we're all about community and whatever else. And I tend to be going, hey, Netflix, I expect more of you. I know your culture is a little bit tough. They tend to run to their own thing from a people standpoint.
Yeah.
But I thought that was petty. So anyway, but that's leading to the great paranoia, because people aren't communicating during the work from home, and they don't, so.
Yeah, I worked with that same company who set me up with the Slack channel. They're worldwide. They're a customer experience company, and one of the directors came to me. He said, Steve, how do I apply this? My guys are all over. I said, well, here's what I would suggest. It's easy here in the office, right? We run into each other at the kitchen. I'm grabbing my Dr. Pepper with crushed ice. You're grabbing your Pepsi. We shoot the breeze. How are your kids? Wow, he's over here. He's starting his degree. My daughter's over here. Everything's good. We build that relationship over Zoom, either work from home or around the world. Much more difficult. I suggested to him just a simple thing. I said, set up a time where you can call your team, and it's their time. It's 15, 20 minutes, and you don't talk about business at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's going to happen in the first handful of times. They're going to say, oh, production's up by 10%. My retention's up. They're going to talk all business. But I want you to ask them about their kid's softball game. I want you to ask them what they had for dinner last night, what their hobbies are. I want it completely personal. I want it water cooler talk. And after a while, that meeting will taper away from the business and, oh my goodness, he's checking in on me, to I've got a friend here who's genuinely interested in me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Building that relationship, even though you and I are an entire country apart, right? We can talk. We talk about our kids. Mm-hmm. I know about your two. You know about my three. What we're dealing with. There's that relationship that's just as good, I dare say, now as it was 30 years ago when we were haze gray and underway, headed to war. We can do that. We can do that via Zoom. If we set business aside appropriately, when it's time to talk business, we talk business. Absolutely. But we can build those relationships over Zoom, simply by picking up the phone, by doing a Zoom call, whatever it may be, and just saying, hey, what'd you have for dinner last night? I'm looking for a new recipe. I'm done with mac and cheese.
Right.
Hey, I tried this. It was fantastic. Or don't do this. It went down in flames. That's good stuff. Building that relationship, even over Zoom.
I tell you what, we said we were going to keep it at a half hour. We're now at about an hour.
Oh, holy crap.
Let's wrap it up. Let's do this. Let's wrap it up on this. And you're coming back. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some more. We'll get you on another. Let's come back and get you another day.
Okay.
I'd love to keep this dialogue going. I can talk about this all day long because ultimately it's the business of doing business. And
yes,
the business of doing business is all about the people supporting you and being in it. And this is like, it's amazing. I've seen some people are great at it. I'm horrible at it. I mean, I just, it's the world's best individual contributor, I think. But it's good. So how do people get a hold of you?
Email, it's steve@VLRC and then the numeral 1.com. So STEVE number 1. Steve at VLRC1.com.
Steve@VLRC1.com.
That's my email. Call me 385-549-4148. Send me a text, give me a call. My website, www.VLRC, what is my website?
VLRC.com?
VLRC1.com.
You got to remember your own website, www.VLRC.com.
I'm so starstruck being on your podcast. My mind is mush, and I'm getting old. So
we'll make sure it gets in it. We'll make sure it gets in the notes on this. But you're good. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on. It was a great topic today. I really enjoyed it. And you're coming back.
Thank you, Craig.
Cool, Steve. Talk soon.
See ya.
I hope you enjoyed the latest edition of the Aerospace Executive Podcast. You can reach out to me directly, Craig at NorthstarESG.com, or check us out at www.NorthstarESG.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or on YouTube. Just do a search for Aerospace Executive Podcast. Thanks again. I'm Craig Pittman.